You are now tuned in to the New Old Heads podcast, brought to you by BringingDownTheBand.com. No bad ideas, Coleman Dental and Printfinity. I am Major 7th, and clearly I'm the only one with common sense on this set today.
It's just the only one.
I do make beats and have the t-shirts to prove them. A little silly in here today, but I will go around as always. To my left, the one and only. Your name?
That's not my job.
Okay.
Well, hi, I'm Sean.
Thank you, sir. To my left,
people call me Lonegevity.
Okay.
Some people call me Lone.
That's fine. Laughter is healthy, they say.
It is.
Laughter is healthy.
Yeah.
So we're going to go ahead and continue. To my left, as always, the one and only DJ Jay Diff.
Salutations.
Quite silly today. To my right, rocking the No Bad Ideas hat, as well as that Printfinity new flame joint that you can get.
Three stripes.
Three
stripes. You know what I'm saying? I know it as the flame, but the technical name is Three Stripes with Printfinity.
Word.
As always, the incomparable DJ Spoolz.
Hello, Michael.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you?
It's good to see you. I see you marketing out here. I like that in you.
Got to help your friends, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
what it's about.
No matter how silly they are, we have
F&A
to.
right, you should.
And I like t-shirts, and Terry makes good ones.
He does.
It works out well.
Apparently, he's Richard Pryor today because he's very, 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 very comedic. As we get started today, episode number 35.
35?
You can say 30. Is that 30? Did you say 35? I feel like there's
35.
somebody pumped happy gas in here or something.
Episode
That's all
35.
right.
Yeah, you guys are ridiculous.
Mike hates
35.
fun.
Not at all. I just said
Everybody's
laughter.
having fun.
I just said laughter was healthy.
And now you're quietly perturbed about it, though. like the whole thing
It's
kind of chaps your just a little bit. You know it does.
It's first curse. It is bothering me a little bit today, but it's cool. We're going to go ahead and keep it moving.
Cool.
Episode 35. I'm going to go Frank Thomas. Spoolz?
I have to go Frank Thomas, but I will note that hockey players Tony Esposito, and yes, I'm reading from the phone on my leg right now.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Tony Esposito and Mike Richter also wore number 35.
Mike
they were big
Richter.
deals in hockey.
I like that.
I like, of course you got to have Durant. You got to mention Kevin Durant, but
Not necessarily.
I say I like the Frank Thomas episode.
Okay, 2 for Frank Thomas.
Shout out to my man Big Skits. That's like his favorite baseball.
The Big Hurt. Shout out to Skits. Lone, number 35.
I don't have anybody, so I'm going to say Kevin Durant.
He just heard me say you don't have to mention Kevin Durant.
Wonder if that influenced his decision.
Perhaps. DJ J Diff, 35.
Whatever the
35.
general consensus decides to go with is fine with me.
Frank Thomas it is.
Frank Thomas.
He's 35.
Shout out to Frank
Indeed.
Thomas.
Yeah, man.
He actually was a
Big
beast, man. I used to watch when they had the games on WGN.
Yep.
Yeah, shout out to WGN.
Used to watch
Chicago.
Cubs
They ain't
games.
cutting us a check.
You know, as a
They are.
Cubs fan that
I like that.
Yeah.
grew up in Indianapolis,
Uh-huh.
I've never had like a disdain for the White Sox like Cubs fans up there do.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't like the White Sox necessarily, but like when they won, I mean, I was kind of like for like 10 or 15 minutes like, oh man,
It's
wish it
real.
was the Cubs, but
It's
then it was
real,
like,
though.
oh, Chicago won the World Series. I
Mhm.
just from having not grown up there, I don't have that like.
Being a person that
Right.
lived as a Illinois resident, I lived on the South Side. So
'Kay.
35th Street exit, 31st Street
Yep.
exit.
You're
I-
right there.
I used to live there. So I'm Sox. I used to grow up watching Baines and Frank Thomas and all those guys.
Man, they had
But,
some teams, man.
they
Albert
did.
Bell played for them for a
Exactly.
short time.
Vince
George,
Tomei played towards the end of his career.
so did Bo Jackson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So living on the South Side, shout out to the South Side. Low end is where I used to live.
hmm
Um,
That's where my dad grew up, man.
it's real. Like
Yeah. My dad grew
The
up on 111th and State. If you know where
okay,
that is.
I know exactly where it
Roseland.
is.
Roseland.
Yes, sir. I know
Yeah.
exactly what it is. Shout out to Roseland. It's real in terms of the difference between the Sox and the Cubs. Like
Mhm.
I didn't realize it until I lived there as a resident. And it's definitely real. Like the
Disdain the two
Yeah, the
teams
disdain
have
is
for each
real.
other. Yeah.
Cause you go to Wrigleyville and you got a Sox hat. I used to rock a Sox fitted.
Oh, you're gonna get it all
Exactly.
day.
Exactly. So
Hey, y'all
Yeah.
remember in the Straight Outta Compton movie
yes.
at the beginning when Easy had on the Sox hat
Yes.
that wasn't out yet?
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
point.
Technically was not out.
Yeah.
They didn't come out with that logo until like the 89, 90, 91 area
So it
That's
was
a very good
who,
point.
The White,
That's a
the
very
White
good
Sox,
point.
It might have been even a little bit later
later.
than that. So there's a good 30 for 30 about ESPN documentary about how like West Coast rap almost influenced fashion.
It did.
You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
the White Sox logo was red, white, and blue, and then like when after like NWA comes out and everything's
Right.
going
Raiders
on,
hats,
Right.
Kings.
the Kings
The Kings were big.
The Kings
Yeah.
were different. Like their stuff looked different before.
Mhm.
Right.
But then the White Sox come out with the black and white, super sharp
Yeah.
with the socks.
Old English.
Yep. Then you've got
Those hats are a part of hip hop culture.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah. Raiders hats.
I had the Raiders join the 6th grade.
I have a Raiders hat at home somewhere, a starter one with a leather bill.
Oh yeah. You balling?
Oh, you balling?
You balling now?
Oh, you a baller? Yeah, those hats are iconic. Those
Yeah.
hats are those logos themselves are
Oh yeah.
iconic. When you think about the starter era with the the original starters that had the zip all
yeah,
the way
hat,
down.
and then the
They
half
had
zip
the half
joints
zip pullover.
with the zips on the side.
Yeah,
The
with the
big
pockets
pocket
in
right
the
here, yeah.
front.
I had a Blackhawks one.
Oh, word. Okay.
I had a
did.
bull zip up, not the pullover. I had a full zip.
Yeah, I had a Blackhawks pullover joint, and then I had a Miami Heat full zip joint. Yeah.
I think the some of the more popular starter joints were Georgetown Hoyas when we were kids.
Yeah.
Georgetown Hoyas, the Bulls, obviously.
That's why I
Cowboys.
got the other
The
ones.
Cowboys
Cowboys,
starter
right.
always seemed to
Yeah.
be pretty popular.
That's why I got the other ones, because it seemed like everybody had the same starter jackets.
Yeah.
The Hoyas was that
Everybody
was like it.
had that.
Yeah, Georgetown was.
Or
Everybody had the
Georgetown-
Bulls.
Georgetown T-shirts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was a phase where that was crazy, and then when Ivo got there, it kind of hit the ceiling when he was there as a freshman.
With the
Rocking
that's when they
Jordan
had
11s.
just the G logo for
Yeah.
a minute.
Yep,
Yeah.
and Ray Allen, UConn, what a
Oh, yeah.
game! And that huge game in the Garden.
Mm-hmm.
I'm dating myself, but yeah, that was big.
Was that like a Big East?
Big East tournament.
Yeah, back in the day.
Jesus Shuttlesworth.
Yes, sir. Shout out to Spike. That was a dope movie, I thought too. Ray was, but it still was.
Yeah.
Ray's a basketball player. He's not an actor. You know what I mean?
didn't
I love
know-
the part where
I
He
didn't know
shoots
that.
threes.
yeah, I like the part where what's his name?
Spoolz just said his name is Ray Allen.
Nah, not Ray Allen. I'm
Oh,
not
I'm
talking
sorry.
about him. See?
Sorry.
He's talking about somebody else.
Who played
This
his
guy.
dad in the movie?
That would be lead actor Denzel.
Denzel.
Washington.
Denzel.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I couldn't think of his name for some reason.
Get it together.
When he throat checked dude.
Oh, when he got the, he's like, "What you got there? A Range Rover? What you got there?" Bow.
He got him quick though,
Quick.
real swift.
Yeah, dude was on some nonsense anyway in that movie, but yeah, good memories. Episode 35, New Old Heads podcast. On a more serious note, we forgot to mention. Well, we didn't. I did on the rundown. I failed to mention we had a full show last week, but and I'm probably going to mess this young man's name up. I believe it's Hernimo Yanez, I believe is his name. Is the police?
Geronimo?
Is it Geronimo? Is that it?
I believe.
Okay. See, I told you I was gonna mess it up. He was acquitted June 16th for second-degree murder and manslaughter. Philando Castile in Minnesota.
Yeah. And just actually, what is today? What's today's date?
27th.
27th. So
Taping date's the 27th.
yesterday, the city of Minnesota, well,
Uh-huh.
of course, that would be a state. Hold on.
Yes, it is indeed.
According
Saint
to a
Anthony,
statement. Yes.
believe.
Okay. There we go.
Saint
Yeah,
Anthony.
St. Anthony, Minnesota. They reached a $3 million settlement.
Oh, in favor of
That will be
his family,
Yeah, $3 million to I believe Philando's
daughter.
mother,
Nice.
The one who they had on camera in cuffs
probably.
with her daughter.
Right.
Yeah, because I released that video later.
Right.
But still, in quotes, no amount of money could ever replace Philando.
Right.
With resolution of the claims, the family will continue to deal with their loss through the important work of the Philando Castile Relief Foundation. Yeah,
Nice.
it poses an interesting question.
Shoot.
Accountability.
Spool's favorite word.
You know, obviously he got acquitted.
Right.
So what does this mean as far as accountability is concerned?
In relation to the officer.
If St. Anthony is giving a settlement of $3 million
Right.
to the family.
Right.
Obviously, they know that something was wrong. It's just funny that people are getting off. Like, I don't think anybody's been charged with any of these crimes where somebody, an innocent bystander was killed.
There's no conviction
by a police
no
officer.
Conviction.
There's no convictions. There's always these settlements. Okay, well, we're not going to do this to him, but here's some money. Be cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Right.
It's okay.
Right.
I mean, but that doesn't pay for the one that you lost.
Right.
No, there's not any amount of money that's going to pay for a life.
Right.
So, I mean, I get what you're saying about accountability. It's almost like they're not taking blame, but they're
trying
here's
to
some
on the
hush
side.
money.
They're trying to
Yeah.
on the side. They're like slyly saying, well, maybe we were responsible, but we're not going to come out and say it.
Yeah.
You know, but let's just keep the status quo moving. You know.
That's kind of what folks in positions like that are supposed to do, is never be accountable almost when things like that happen. There are some companies that are good at taking full accountability, but as far as the government's concerned, does our government apologize for much ever
Nah.
No.
in the history
Right.
of our country? You know what I mean?
Not at all.
So, no, it's really frustrating, and I don't know. I guess I have a hard time if people can't, for people that still don't understand why this is a big deal or whatever. You kind of have to be blind at this point, like,
Or you're just really not looking.
Or don't care.
Because
it doesn't affect this party directly, so they don't care. So
yeah,
it's.
I mean, it's not new.
That's the thing, and that it's not been new, even as it's been in the news a lot over the past few years. It's not new, man.
It's still, yeah. That's so.
It's the thing that just continues is like there obviously must be some issue. It's just math. We talk about proportions, right? And I think Black or African American people make up something like 13 to 14% of the country,
Give or take.
something like that.
Uh-huh.
But account for a far higher percentage of the amount of people killed by the police.
Right.
That's disproportionate. Like, people are always, white people get killed by the police too and more. And I was like, but yeah, white people are like 50-something%.
And there's a lot of media spins on that too.
Yeah.
That's when you go into the arguments, which may funnel into maybe another topic that we'll talk about, which was when Vic Mensa addressed DJ Akademiks,
Mm-hmm.
in Chicago.
About Chirac, yeah.
And you're talking about, areas with a lot of crime.
Right.
Yeah,
I think at this
I think I have to kind of separate. I'm not real quick, Mike. I don't know. Try to even. So, putting yourself in the shoes of an officer, I guess,
Right.
or I guess you maybe a step further. What can the police do to try? I mean, is more training? Do we think more training would help? Do we think? I've seen numbers where
Bless you.
Bless you.
Boom shakalaka.
Okay, sorry. Fake out. But like, I've seen numbers where body cameras seem to help rates of complaints filed against office. You know what I mean? And just different, like, brutality and things along those lines. But what is
I don't-
aside from putting the people who do this in jail?
I think there's a short term and a long term. Maybe is how you have to look at it. Maybe the number one obvious thing is the entire system, right?
Right.
So that's obviously not a short term solution,
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
except for burn it down, right? But I think accountability is a big thing to me. So the fact that we can't even address it, we can't even accept the fact that there's a problem.
Yeah.
Is it's where it needs to start. You know, you look through it, the stages of grief, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, we haven't even got there yet.
Right.
Just and that's what I was just about, like statistics. Like when you get down to just the raw numbers of it, like we all know math, right? I mean, it's disproportionate.
It is, and especially since you bring up being disproportionate, Trevor Noah made a very great point about that whole shooting. So the officer that pulled Philando over, Philando told him he had a gun in the car.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so generally the NRA would have came out and been like, well,
Right.
you've pretty much taken his right to bear arms away from him at this point.
Good call.
They haven't said anything about it. Like, it was never brought up. It's just interesting how that plays out, how it's very selective. And one of the reasons the cop said he was scared as well, he said he smelled of marijuana, so it made him fear for his life. When does the burning and smelling of weed make you fear for your life?
I want to jump
I
in.
can honestly tell you,
right there.
Terry, it has never made me fear for my life.
Right. That's just an interesting. I guess that smell is scary.
I want to jump in right there because it goes to Spoolz and his point where he speaks about is there training? Is there some form of training or something that can be done to kind of rectify the situation? I think it's more of a mentality. What Jay Diff just said to me is a mentality thing. It's in your mind to be frightened by the smell of marijuana with a black African-American young man who mentions that he has a gun. That's a mentality thing for you to automatically think or feel frightened. Like, I don't think there's a training that can offset that.
Nah.
Like, I feel like that's just who he is or who said person is. Like, I feel like people just react that way, and it could be because of a stereotype. It could be because of experiences as a child. It could be because of any of that. But I don't think that is a fixable problem through the system in terms of what Spoolz spoke to. I just think it's a mentality issue. I think that's the mentality issue of the officers, and I think it's consistent like across the country because we continue to have this conversation.
Like, it was right to the gun though.
Right.
It wasn't a taser. I understand he had told him he had a. That's the weird part because he told him to get his ID.
Yeah.
Right. So it goes right to the gun. It escalates from 0 to 100, if you will.
You know, the officer had the opportunity to say just completely, I don't want your ID, or
right.
Step outside of the car.
Right.
And like 4 shots, man.
Yeah.
Right.
With his child in the back seat.
Exactly.
And another person sitting beside him as well. Like, and nothing. Like,
that's just my opinion, but I think it speaks to the mentality of the person that is pulling the trigger.
But let's take it a bit. Let's take it a bit deeper
valid.
though. So if we talk about the system, you say it's not about the system.
Okay.
The system goes all the way back to education.
I agree.
So if you have people that aren't educated early on and have certain biases growing up,
properly educated, right?
Right.
Okay.
Like introduced early on in early development.
That's fair.
I think that plays a part in it as well.
So you're saying
it's not just about the system of policing.
Right.
It's the system of America.
Fair enough.
And all the little things that connect to it. This isn't a simple issue.
Agreed. I agree.
I'm gonna throw something crazy out here too, because I had an opportunity to do a police ride along. I think I told you guys about that a month ago or so.
You seem to be very impressed.
And I wasn't impressed. It was just a very interesting experience that, by the way, anyone can do.
Okay.
So just want when I say anyone, I mean I'm sure there's like some sort of background check or whatever. But yeah.
Right.
And I rode in Hamilton County, not Marion County, so it was a far different experience than. I wasn't in the city, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, it's... Okay. So, you take people, like, you don't have to be, like, educational requirements to be a police officer, like, on the street. I think it's like it's just a high school diploma, which is cool, right?
Right.
Okay. You train them.
About 6 weeks.
You could train them better. You could train them longer. You could train them more thoroughly, but... give them a gun,
right,
and authority, and they don't make a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
And it's protect these laws. Go into these neighborhoods that are, underserved,
Mm-hmm.
and make sure make sure nothing like bad. Like, what kind of sense does that make, man? What kind of job is that really at the end of the day?
Yeah.
I'm not just so you know too. I'm not sticking up for any police officer
Oh,
who's
no,
ever
we get it.
hurt
We get it. We get it.
or done anything wrong. Like
we get it.
I think
in any way, shape, or form. But societally, like the reason why I got in this because you said the system in society.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Right.
to me, the police, like this situation that's going on as far as the police and the disproportionate killing and lack of accountability is a small part of a much larger, I think, power system. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So, but just think think about that setup, man.
Well,
That just doesn't, and then it just doesn't make any. It's bound to be bad, man.
And
I agree.
And not all cops are bad. I happen to think most police officers really do want to make a difference. You know what I mean? For the most part. I mean, however, man.
I know some that are great. They're great guys.
I mean, I just went on a ride. The guy I rode along with has been a very close friend of mine since I was 16 years old, man. Great human being, father, fair man, stand up man. You know what I mean? Is every police officer like that? Probably not. But
I think the firefighters get more extensive training than police officers do.
Yeah.
Like way more extensive.
And again, man, I just want to. That's not what I'm saying. Would have like solved. I mean, why not?
I think
You know
training.
what I mean?
I think training is highly important. I think there's a different type of training. Relate this to hip hop. Odyssey's got a line. Why do you police a community that you do not engage in? Right. You know, like if you. I think that's a very humanizing factor as well to be a part of. Killer Mike talks about this as well.
Yes.
There's just so many different elements I think that go into it. It's not just clear cut. I mean, it seems like it is, but outside of burn it all down,
I'm gonna play devil's advocate on the training, and what you said makes perfect sense to me. So I understand that. But to jump back into the mentality is what I talked about earlier when we talked about the mentality. Now, if I'm a person that has been raised in a certain lifestyle, shown certain things, we've talked about this in other episodes in terms of upbringing, right?
Right.
So if I've been raised or brought up in a certain lifestyle, seen certain things, been taught to think right, we're going right this way, can training offset the mentality that I grew up with? That's my question.
No, I don't think.
Is there a level of training
that should be
can,
involved in training? I know. At least that's why I brought up the firefighter training.
Cognitive training, maybe.
They actually do like a mental check on them.
Okay.
Like they have to go through certain steps and answer certain questions to be qualified to be a firefighter.
See, that's where I'm going, because I just feel like the racial undertones can be so strong.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe training's a bad word.
Okay.
Because I think if you fail such tests, you should automatically, maybe that should be one of the first things that should happen.
Yeah,
right.
like
you know what I mean?
it's kind of like an mental aptitude test. Like how would you respond to certain issues?
And even certain,
I can dig that.
I've read things where they had performed tests like that, and I think in one article I read, it said that the police officers were more likely to shoot a black person than a white person. Another one it said it was about equal. Another, but something else to keep in mind too that I had to think about just from being a police officer from this standpoint. And again, I cannot reiterate enough, this is in no way defending anything that's happened.
Oh no, you're good, bro.
But
you're good.
For people that the situations that occur like this, when they have not like that, but I would say a life or death situation is, especially out here, like we're like in not in Marion County, you know what I mean, like the less populated places and areas, I would say,
Right.
is 1%, if anything, of the time that you're doing your job. So how much can you train a person anyway to be ready for the 1% of what it is that you're going to maybe do? You know what I mean? Like, how do you do that? I just don't know. The setup isn't right. Is the point that I'm getting at? Like, people are not
take guns.
The
and give everybody
police and the
batons.
people who the police seem to be targeting all the time. Neither are set up really for success at the end of the day in our society.
Mm-hmm. I don't necessarily disagree with that statement.
Yeah.
So, I do feel like
it's a tension. There's of course there's going to be tension almost. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
no,
but
you're fine.
It's almost like it's done on purpose. Maybe.
Yeah, I got nothing.
I mean, it's
Get Sway on the phone.
yeah. there's a gray area with this one. Like, there's so many ways that you can go to dissect this thing, to break it down to its base. Like, Spoolz made 10 good points.
Yeah.
You made it a different 10. Diff threw in 5 or 10. I threw in 5. Like, there's so many ways that you can look at it, but the consensus is that consistently the same thing has continued to happen.
It's happening far too often.
And it's happening far too often.
And it's happening
and there's-
disproportionately.
And there's data on it.
There's
You
data
know,
on it.
It's not like, oh, this happened this one time.
Right.
You
This
know?
is consistent. You can go Freddie Gray, you can go Eric Gardner, you can go all the way back to Trayvon. Like, the buyouts and the cash and everything, this is consistent
You
across
can
the
go
board.
way before that, back before
Yep.
it was documented.
Exactly.
You know,
In the
so,
social media era, and everybody has a camera phone era. It's just,
Right.
it's unfortunate that we have to continue to have the conversation and the dialogue, but maybe we can spark conversation and spark minds to think, to try to come up with something. I've never been opposed to conversation. I think
Right.
conversation is healthy. I think hearing other opinions is healthy because it jogs your mind to think outside of the norm of
if
what
you're,
you always
if you're
think.
willing to be empathetic and listen with an empathetic ear, yeah.
Yes,
absolutely.
I agree. So we'll leave that one there. I know that's a heavy topic, but as always, man, just I know it's been a while since he's passed away, but you always think about that. Think about his family and his mother. She was very, very passionate when she spoke about her son after the verdict.
Something's funny. I don't want to say funny.
Uh-huh.
This settlement came after the other video came out too.
Right. Yep.
Like
Right on cue. Right on cue.
It's not coincidence.
Oh no.
Nah, it's not at all. But very, very good, very healthy conversation. Everybody, you guys were awesome on that one. That was dope. So, like I said, shout out to his family. Prayers to his family, because there's no amount of money that could replace, to his point, losing a family member.
So what did you think about Vic's comments to Akademiks
Pertaining to Chicago,
pertaining to Chicago and Vic's feelings on Chicago, especially considered you lived up there?
I thought that his comments in terms of the sensationalizing of the death that was going on in Chicago, I felt his pain. I thought he was accurate in terms of how he described it. Being a person in Chicago, I felt like he was dead on in terms of what he said. I understood where he was coming from based off the environment that he was coming from. And I think it really struck a nerve with him because one of the gentlemen or one of the kids that he was talking about happened to be one of his friends. So obviously that's going to only heighten, his reaction. Akademiks tried to spin it to say that he was trying to bring awareness, which I can't get into his mind. So maybe that was his angle. He was trying to bring awareness, but to go that route with it in terms of having a whole different channel named Chirac and then going through each video.
But you're not from there.
But you're not from Chicago, and you have no experience about what's going on in the Chicago area. Being a former resident, and living in the Chi on the South Side, I'm fully aware of what Vic Mensa was talking about,
Right.
and I totally understand where he was coming from in terms of the lightheartedness to which some of those deaths and some of the things that were going on in Chicago was
you
addressed.
saw him, right?
I've seen the Warren Chirac video, a couple of them before, and
Right.
they're very. I used to call it, it's kind of like rap news is what I would call it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But he would report on like a rapper getting killed, but then also kind of like put everyone down at the same time. Like
exactly.
You know,
He tried to say it was satire.
I could maybe I don't. I mean,
But even if it was, I mean,
It's not funny.
but he's
it's not-
basically like, I'm not into this, but check out what these stupid are doing over here, and and
yeah.
oh yeah, you know, so and so is not going to stand for that, and almost, oh, but I'm really not, you know, I not me, man, it's not for me, but you know, people are going to do what they do, and almost made a game out of it. And so if I were Vic Mensa, you know what I mean? Like I understand why
I totally
why
get
he was
it.
upset
I
about
totally
it, or
get it.
why he said what he said.
He said, I
'cause-
really wanted to slap you in your mouth.
Yeah.
He
And
said he can't come to Shy.
the thing about it is Vic is not that. So that shows you how much it bothered him. That's not his brand. That's not who he's claimed to be. But he really, really was upset because he knew one of the guys that he addressed. I don't find anything funny. I'm trying to watch an episode to find where I can laugh. I don't find these kids killing each other and funerals and all that type of stuff funny. I can't find the satire in that.
Nah, especially when it's happening as much, like in the sense of what.
The numbers are staggering in terms of like just holiday killings, like not annual holiday, like July 4th weekend
Right.
or Memorial Day weekend, or it's staggering. Like I used to see it in the Sun-Times or Tribune, or when I would go to work when I worked in Inglewood. Like I got to the point where I was like, yeah, so let's see how many people got killed on this holiday weekend. Not making a game out of it, but like literally like, okay, let me see what happened over the weekend on the South Side.
And Akademiks would joke about that and call like the 4th of July the All-Star game for all the like Chirac.
See,
exactly.
And that's kind of where I
dudes
was.
and,
That's where I was going with that
that's
comment.
corny.
Like,
That's
like,
corny to
like
me.
it's clickbait. Like he's using it as like his way to get. Like that's.
Wale called him out about that.
It's
Yeah.
corny.
I mean, he
guess.
does
It's corny.
general like rap hip hop news, but then he also has another page that's just the war in Chirac.
Oh, he has a separate page for
Oh
it.
yeah,
There's an entirely different page, channel, or whatever you want to call it, specifically
channel.
catered to Chirac.
So he
It's
tries
channel.
to rebrand himself a little bit to save face a little bit. Maybe?
Exactly, and that's what I had Vic Mensa off, because he knows this is about clickbait. This is about that paper. This is about that bottom line.
he's
So
Capital
he's gonna
One
have
traffic.
that moment when Charlemagne had that moment when the dudes ran up on him.
Yes,
Yep.
outside of the studios heading
Yeah.
into the Breakfast Club. They ran up on
Akademiks
him.
is gonna have that moment.
You think so?
I do.
It might be in
He
Chicago.
might have a few of them.
Oh.
He may not go to Chicago.
Not on the south. I hope he don't go to that south
Vic
side.
Mensa told him he wasn't invited or he couldn't come.
𝐻𝐻𝐿 said the same thing.
Akademiks said he gets love in Chicago.
That's
Well,
what he said.
I hope we don't have to find out.
You can't say a lot behind a mic, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying, and not visiting the area. And
If I were
I think
he,
I'm gonna go with Vic. No,
if I
on
were
that
he,
one.
I would. If I were to go to Chicago, I would like stay. Just don't go out and about. Like, just
post up in
don't
the
do it.
hotel.
Yeah,
just-
hang out in the hotel. Go to whatever event you have to be there for, and just leave.
Go to the W right on Lakeshore Drive.
Order
Yep.
some
Take that
Giordano's
view.
to be delivered
Yeah,
to you.
have it delivered. You know what I'm
Or
saying?
some
Al's beef, man.
Under
Yeah.
a fake name.
Yeah, have somebody
Yeah.
else go downstairs and get it. We gotta do all that and just enjoy that view on Lakeshore Drive and stay in your room, fam. I think that'll be a great trip. No shed, aquarium,
Mm-mm.
no museums,
No Navy
no
Pier.
shopping.
No
No,
Navy
going
Pier.
shopping on whatchamacallit or any of that, man.
no Nike
Magnificent
store,
Mile,
none of
you
that.
know, none of that.
None of that. Giordano's view in the room.
You can't see the beans, son.
Yeah, so
You know what the bean reminds me of, though? This is like totally out topic.
Side note, I love Chicago. You know, I have ties there and all that.
my
Very
second
much so.
home. It's
I've
my
never
second
seen.
home.
I've never seen the bean.
I've never seen it either, but
bean
just
is
in
awesome.
pictures, it reminds me. Y'all remember that movie, The Flight of the
Yep.
Navigator?
wow.
I knew you were gonna
That's
say that,
That's
too.
what that looks like to me.
just hovering.
Yeah.
Hey,
What is the bean?
Are you serious?
It's
As
that,
many
the
times
big
as you-
chrome.
Okay, that's what I thought you were talking about.
Yeah.
I was about
Yeah.
to say you've been visiting me in Chicago.
I've never seen that.
I've
We
never
didn't go
seen
to the
it either.
Bean?
Nah.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah. I've
never
seen
seen
a
it
million. I've seen a million pictures of people like
Mhm.
getting engaged in front of it.
Are
and-
you
Yeah,
sure we never went
I'm
down
fine
there?
with not
Yeah.
seeing the bean.
Wow.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
I kind of want to see it, though.
Do you?
It's
I mean,
kinda-
I'm
As
not
many
against
times
it.
as I've been there, I've never seen it.
Shout out
Like,
to Spoolz.
And it's
raining
crazy
on
because like I've never like went there and my mission was I gotta go see the bean. You
I wonder. I
so
hope that's
I'm always
not
on some
anybody's
other
mission.
Shout out to Spoolz raining on the bean as Terry
What's
gets
let me
excited.
ask this, and I'm ignorant to it. What's the significance of the bean?
stuff. I don't know. That's why you might have to
It's
go.
really
It's
art,
probably
man.
some.
It's
just a
art.
piece
Probably
of
something
art. Okay,
posted
I can
out
dig
there
it.
to tell you what it's there for.
Right.
I
So
don't
maybe
know.
it
It's
really
art.
is the Flight of the Navigator.
It might be.
Oh,
How did I
dang.
know he? How did I know? he
Terry,
was
what
gonna
if
say
you?
that?
What if you and I go and it opened up? We got to. Go.
We out of here, man.
All right.
That might be the
set that up for a
spaceship.
future.
That might be
yeah.
the spaceship that Kanye's been waiting on.
No, I think Kanye's in a sucking place right now. So,
Well, right now. but
are
he
you
was-
saying when he gets out of that?
Now, when he remember on his first album?
Oh, the
when he was,
actual
he was
spaceship,
waiting
yeah.
for his spaceship to take off.
We got to get him out of the sunken place first
Well.
before we can get him into a spaceship.
As long as Keeping Up with the Kardashians is on the air, I don't think that's
Maybe
gonna
he
happen.
needs the spaceship to get out of the sunken place.
There you
Well,
go.
I'm not sure,
All right.
I'm not sure. How
I'll
we're
buy
gonna,
that.
I'm not sure how we're gonna get it down there, but
We need to get him to the bean.
get Kanye to the bean. I like that movement.
That's the new campaign. Get Kanye to the bean.
He has to get out of that place. I don't know where he is right now, but we got to get that brother out of the place. You brought up a good point too, Diff. Want to hop back into sports quickly. Shout out to Russell Westbrook, MVP.
Brody.
I think he has 69 first place votes. First person to average a triple double since the great
Did he tie?
Oscar
Did he
Robertson.
tie him or did he beat him?
No, he beat him.
43 triple doubles. I
That's
believe.
crazy, man.
He had one more than Oscar.
It's nuts.
Shout out to Crispus Attucks.
That was
Naptown.
that was a record that was never supposed to be broken.
There's a
Yeah.
montage of videos of LeBron, Jason Kidd, Gary Payton, all of these guys that were interviewed 10, 12 years ago speaking about the triple double, and you just see everybody. Oh no,
Oh,
it'll
yeah.
never be broken.
They were talking
no,
about
it'll
Big
never
O.
be broken. Yeah,
Yeah.
and LeBron's
That's
like,
crazy
no way I
though.
can see it.
So that's a crazy coincidence. So
What's
the
that?
Big O had it originally.
Yep.
Russell Westbrook's number is 0.
Yes.
Hmm.
That's kind of
And he
And
rocks
bu-
with Westbrook
And they
too.
both
Yeah.
point guards as well, right?
Yes.
Hmm.
So
that's
think-
dope.
Did Oscar play point or play like
he
two?
he played point. He played the
Mhm.
point.
Another interesting tidbit, real quick.
Let's go.
After he received that award last night at the NBA Awards, there were 2 commercials.
Uh huh.
I can't remember what the first one was, but it was kind of I do. The first one was kind of like everybody saying, well, he went 4th in the draft, this,
Right,
that, and the other,
right.
blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Now you can't say anything. He's the MVP. Then there was another definite check mark.
Probably top 5 check marks.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
There was another commercial after that. The reason why I bring this up because Fonte had something to do with this commercial. So there's a rap
Oh, okay.
about
Really?
why Russell Westbrook is the MVP.
Shout out to
And they
Fonte
were
getting
adding
that
like
check.
math and all that stuff together. It's a dope commercial. So shout out to Fonte.
Yeah, shout out
Nice.
to
Look that
Fonte
up.
getting that check.
Mm-hmm.
Spoolz,
He's
you
been
got-
collecting checks here lately.
Yeah.
I like Fonte.
Mm-hmm.
I really, really like Fonte.
New Ticolo, new Ticolo, new Ticolo.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We should try to get
That's
Fonte.
that grown
on here.
man rap.
It'd be cool to get Fonte on here, wouldn't it?
That would be.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Fonte, if you
We
watch
would probably
man,
laugh the whole time.
That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Come to Indianapolis again.
Yeah, so if the foreign exchange, Nicolay, Fonte,
We
y'all
can get them all on
twins
the
are
show.
here.
We can get Nicolay,
Yeah.
do a spot whenever Slade come back in town.
yeah,
Get Zoe.
Um,
We can bring Zoe.
Yep.
it'd be pretty fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. We should probably start working on that, huh?
New
Yeah.
old heads backstage.
Mhm.
Man. Yeah, that would be dope. But yeah, shout out to Russ Westbrook, man.
He deserved
I
it.
think he deserves it.
Yeah.
I like
I
his
agree.
enthusiasm. I like his energy. I like his rage that he plays with. And I hope they send that young man some help. And I'd be curious to see what Oklahoma City could do if they could send him a couple players.
How you feel about his wardrobe?
His wardrobe is awful.
Okay. All right. just
But
curious.
Speaking of wardrobes,
I felt like you had something there.
I feel like that's a possibly a good transition into.
To the quarter flip.
Oh, okay.
We could do the quarter flip, and then we could talk about what happened with the Budden and Migos.
Oh.
Yeah, let's do. Yeah, we can do
Wow.
the
fashion made you think.
we can do the
awesome.
quarter flip. So
Thinking of their shirts, you know.
yeah. We can do the quarter flip. So here's the thing.
That's good.
Shout out to No Bad Ideas. They
Definitely.
always take care of us and lace us with new product to promote.
Yes.
Great partnership. We love those guys. They do a great job.
Absolutely.
Whenever we get a chance to see new merchandise, first, Terry and I, or Bradley,
Here we go.
or Sean, we tend to look over the merchandise and see which one we may like or may not.
All right.
Spoolz has a lot of hats. I have a few.
Come on.
Diff has a few.
You are just
So,
you are
I have a few.
unbelievable.
I have a few. Spoolz is wearing one today. So am I.
I think we're all wearing one.
So is Terrence.
So
Lone's
just
not a hat
real
guy.
quick, and I'll make these.
I wear transparent.
What do they
hats.
call them? Some
Stabs in the
couple
back?
redactions, real quick. on those
Stabs
comments.
in-
like,
Stab
yeah.
boy.
Couple stabs in
Yeah,
the back.
yeah.
Okay.
Number one, it's Michael who's all over the hats.
Oh.
All over the hats every time they come in.
Yeah.
Oh, that one. I need these three.
Oh, that's what I say.
I
me get these.
low key need this one.
I'm gonna need this one though, but I
That's
really
more
want this
accurate.
one though
yeah,
too.
That's accurate. Yeah.
I think I've got 3 hats, maybe 2, 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
How many do you have, Mike? Honestly, just because I bet you have a dozen.
He
No.
probably has 50-11.
I probably say realistically
A good 24.
maybe 5 to 7.
50-11.
I don't
Side
know.
eye, side
seen-
eye.
I've seen you
5 to
take
7.
5 to 7 at a time.
Sure you have. May I have that quarter, please? May I have that quarter,
Show him
please?
the hat that we're going to flip for Mike,
Yeah,
because Mike had claimed this hat.
I don't
Which
know
hat
which
is
one
it?
Was.
It's the floral joint right there. Back.
Behind the Fab
back.
Crew joint.
There you go.
Yeah,
that one. Behind
Nah,
that one.
behind that,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's the one.
Yeah.
So I've claimed this one.
He claimed it before anybody else seen it.
Yeah, I'm a fan of this hat here.
It's an oddities joint actually
yes,
as well.
I like the
See.
oddities line. This hat is dope.
Yeah.
They got
So-
the rose. It's the roses.
It's
Yeah.
also got, see, what he didn't realize, it also
The
has a
astronaut.
spaceman on there,
Yeah.
too.
Let me take a look.
There's an
Ah,
astronaut on
it
there.
does.
See, he missed
down
all
in
the
the corner.
detail. That's
Yeah.
why I don't think he deserves to have that
Yeah.
hat.
Yeah, they got the No Bad Ideas pin right by the spaceman. So that's kind of slick. I love this hat. So we're gonna flip for this to see who gets this one between myself and DJ Jay Diff. So
And then we
Notice-
can go to the blouse.
notice- ladies and gentlemen,
who's
that
flipping though? Because if
2
I
of us
flip,
are that I'm not even a part of this. It's
you didn't even claim any of them.
It's okay.
Spool.
I'll flip for you, man. Here, give it to me. I'll flip for you.
You don't want me to flip.
I don't. What you calling?
I'm going to ride with heads.
Let's see how many check marks we get on this one.
Yeah, as Bradley holds it so it falls on heads. Okay.
What we
Wh-
got?
what did I
What
go?
we got?
Tails
Tails.
it is. Yes, sir.
Thanks, Bradley.
So if you come out to, I
Did it
think
on
some
purpose.
announcements were made for Treese this year. I'm not sure. I think I saw
There you
something
go.
come
Here's your
across
39th
Instagram.
No Bad Ideas Act.
Uh,
Good job, Mike.
11th and 2.
We'll go ahead and promote. We can put it back in the stack. We'll promote it. I'll probably be rocking that at Treese.
Yeah, Treese this year. We're doing bringing down the band. We are doing the Plaza stage again
Okay.
with Akademiks.
Cut camp.
Separate.
Separate, okay.
Yeah, so the Plaza will be outside, and one half of the stage will be Akademiks with DJs,
Okay.
and then the other half will be producers. So then we alternate back and forth from 2 to 10:30. So
Yes.
so you got a set.
Yes.
I got you locked in.
Appreciate you, brother.
I think I might do a set
Yes.
because I haven't done one in a while. So.
I'd stick around for that. So I had a great time at Treese. Shout out to Oreo Jones. They do a great job with that. Great environment.
For sure.
Had a great time.
Yeah.
People seem to be visiting different locations and having a good time. There's a lot of people in the streets
Oh, yeah.
moving around.
It's August 26th.
August 26th.
Saturday, August 26th.
So
in Fountain Square.
we will
Cut
be in
camp.
the building.
Cut
Yeah.
camp will also be in
Word.
effect. Strong
Probably
Roots.
be-
I saw a lot of really awesome
And that's
names
just
on
the
there.
and that's just the first announcement. So
Yeah.
there will be more.
Cool.
So
Be cool to do some stuff from
perhaps.
Trees. Perhaps.
To
I
figure
might
out.
try to get me a set on Trees.
Look out now.
Yeah, I think we might be able to possibly.
I mean,
Make
y'all
some
getting
things
this
happen.
stuff for free anyway, so why wouldn't he be able to get a set?
Says Hat Man.
Oh, hat man.
He got
Hat
the hat.
man.
He don't even deserve it, but
I
he
feel
got
you.
it.
Mm.
Is
He
that gonna
got
be?
it.
Is that gonna last? Hat man.
Hat Man,
Yeah.
maybe.
Hat shot.
50-11 and 2. All right, so let's go back to the blouses.
Yes. So
Well, let's talk about this hat real quick.
yeah, that's
while
a
we're
Spoolz
here.
hat right there.
So the hat we're showing today is the Bape,
Actually not.
the MBI
Cool hat, but
Bape
It is,
snapback.
yeah.
Bape.
I said it was a Spoolz hat because it's green and you have on a green Infinity shirt. So
there is a
Trying to match
small
the
part of
catalog.
that hat that's green.
Huh?
This hat,
Yes,
Well, just a little bit of the anecdote.
it's
Oh,
sprinkled in
some-
green.
like some
Spoolz.
greens.
There's some darker brown
I
greens.
see it like orange and.
Oh,
Orange.
maybe Van Dyke Brown.
Orange.
Where's that
Orange.
from?
I don't know.
Oh,
Dick
He's-
Van Dyke. I don't know what.
Dick Van Dyke. Bob Ross, man.
Nah, yeah.
Bob Ross.
Uh-oh.
Spoolz, please tell me you know who Bob Ross is.
Of course I know who Bob Ross is.
And I do as well.
Terrence?
Pretty
But
Little Trees.
You didn't
man.
say Happy Trees.
First of
Happy
all,
Trees.
anybody that says Van Dyke Brown, immediately you should know it's Bob Ross.
I thought it was a
sorry.
name.
No,
Yeah.
that's a color.
Well, obviously.
You should.
That's the Bob Ross tie-in.
If you've never seen it, you should YouTube Sean Price doing Bob Ross.
I've
Which
seen
is
it.
amazing.
It's pretty awesome.
I didn't get a
Oh,
chance
you
to
haven't
see
seen that one?
that. Moving on, man.
Blouses.
Somehow it comes back.
Blouses.
It always comes back to Hat Man.
Hatman.
Hat
Man.
50 Lemon too.
He gonna co-sign every time. Yeah, so
It's true.
Let's talk
looks
Migos,
like Joe
huh?
Buttons and Migos and
Just
DJ
one button.
Akademiks.
Just one Joe Budden.
Yeah,
Or
Joe,
one
Joe
button.
Budden.
Personal preference.
Personal preference. It's like,
His mama call him Budden. I'm gonna call him Budden.
Personal preference. And Nadeska, I believe is the young lady's name that hosts the podcast.
Is
with
that what she
Complex.
does?
Well, don't start, man.
Sorry.
I know you're not rocking with her brand, but
with
cool.
her brand. You have an issue with her entire
he
brand.
hates her brand.
I think she works for Complex, so
Yeah, but you
I
hate
think
her
they all work
as
for
an
Complex.
individual. You hate her brand.
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
So
He hates her brand.
I don't hate Complex. They can throw us Complex money.
No, we fool with
Yeah.
Complex, but you hate her brand as an individual. It's right up there with the
I don't.
biz.
I don't know her.
Anyway,
Yeah, right.
if you didn't see that interview at Spoolz Spins a Quarter,
And it's Tails again. Spoolz is obviously the Tails guy.
It wasn't meant to be. Tails never fails, man.
appreciate
well,
you, Spoolz. Basically,
Wish I knew.
if you hadn't seen this by now, I would suggest that you go look it up because it
Yeah.
looks like Joe Budden was really, really fed up with Akademiks being a fan of the Migos.
That's my take as well.
The Migos came in like they were Prince Akeem and Simi. I like that. Keep doing that. So they come floating in from the right of the screen. You hear this music in the background. Rose petals are everywhere on the ground. Joe Budden's Akademiks greet them, and it starts. Thank you.
Mama.
Yeah, man, these guys were like pretty pissed off. I think I
They
saw
just don't like to do interviews.
they don't like interviews. They don't have any emotion in them.
but they really didn't like. I saw Joe Budden. He had a separate interview that came up today, and he talked about how they ran into someone from QC, which is the label, Lil Yachty Migos. Somebody from QC saw him and was like, "Hey, man, we didn't like how you guys were addressing Yachty." So that kind of spilled over to the Migos, which then spilled over to
Interesting.
the show.
But he had said he just seen the Migos earlier that day at the mall, and they was
He
all
saw-
good.
He saw a member of QC at the mall. It
Oh.
wasn't the Migos. So the
Oh.
guy, I think it goes by P or whatever is what he was
Do
calling him.
rappers really go to the mall as much as they talk about?
They
No,
do.
like his manager,
probably in L.A. in
Yeah,
Atlanta.
I guess
yeah.
maybe
their
you're right.
manager from QC was at the mall because Buttons had needed to buy some socks or something, and the QC manager was getting a belt.
Shirts versus blouses.
And he basically was like, "Man, I don't like how you were coming at Yachty, in the last interview." So I think that fueled Migos somehow because he went back
Yeah.
and told him I saw Buttons at the mall. So I think they already came in on 10 before they. Yeah, it's personal preference. They both came in. They all came in. All three of those guys came into the interview. I think they were on 10 when they sat down. Honestly, before they even got
I
started.
think they was just being Amigos, man. I mean, that's
Yeah, I do
them,
too.
period.
Maybe,
you know?
but you could be right. They don't have any emotions, so it's hard to tell.
It's hard to tell. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
who stands up that fast?
Here's what I'll say, though.
Go ahead.
Not to cut you off. But the first time Joe said, after Akademiks obviously couldn't hear because they didn't. The story is they didn't have earpieces.
They said
it
it's pretty loud.
It was loud, so he couldn't hear.
Right.
Plus,
What?
Plus his diction.
It was pretty funny.
Who was the rapper that he was talking
What?
to?
I don't know. It's
Was that Takeoff? That he was talking
Takeoff
about?
is the one that was on the far right.
Yeah, that was Takeoff.
All right. So when he addressed him about something about him
about
not-
being left off
Bad and Bougie.
but he said
That's the running joke.
but he's not.
He was like,
right.
"Does it
He
look?
said, "Does it look like
do it
I'm not
like
on
I've been
bad,
left
bad
off
and
Bad
Bougie?"
Bougie?"
Right.
You know, he's shining. He got his
Yeah.
diamonds dancing.
But he couldn't hear him, and then Joe was
Bling,
just.
boom,
It looked like
bow.
Joe was just like, "Well, we can't hear. We got to move on."
Yeah, we got to wrap it up.
And
Yeah.
then who's the guy in the middle?
Offset.
So
no,
Offset-
that's not
Quavo.
Offset. That's Quavo.
Okay, but he turned really slowly. He's like,
We'll wrap it up.
"Well,
then.
wrap it up then." Then he
Jeez.
smiled into.
yeah,
Diamonds dancing.
It's the funniest part.
Boom, 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 boom.
Because if you watch the video, he just randomly he's just cheesing.
yeah, like they were trolling. They were trolling that, and I think they just came in there on 10 already.
They
like,
was on 10 the whole weekend.
Yeah, Yeah, they were on 10 with Chris Brown as well.
Yeah.
But I really
They
want
was ready for that action all weekend. I'm sorry.
I really want
Hey.
to throw this over to Spoolz because Spoolz is sitting in an upright position, shaking his head. Do you have 2 cents for me on this one? Because
You might have 25.
give me 2
Definitely got a
cents,
quarter.
Spoolz. Give me a quarter's worth on this Migos.
Well, I don't care about a lot of it, to be honest with you.
Fair enough.
I'm not a Migos fan. We've talked about that before. I don't dislike the Migos. I think
Hey, get your paper,
we were
Migos.
talking.
I
Yeah,
ain't mad at
absolutely,
that.
man.
Yeah,
That's
y'all can chop
that's
bread.
great. Like
They got some
I'm all
hits.
about that,
Yeah.
and they do have hits. But
Bad and bougie go.
yeah, that's
They had some dope shirts on, man.
sure they did.
with Tiffany's chokers on.
Man,
Though.
I just that thing they just seem like assholes, man.
I mean, that's probably a good percentage of people that have actually made it to that level, though.
Yeah, but I don't know.
And they're for real out here shining now,
Yeah.
So it's
Hey, man, I hope they. And this is the only. I hope they save their money.
I hope they stay out of trouble, man. Because
Oh, that too,
literally,
absolutely too. Yeah,
like I said, they was turned up all weekend. They was involved in
could have been worse.
with Chris Brown.
Hey man, nobody got shot or stabbed this year. That's a
Yeah,
good thing for the BET Awards. Seriously, I'm not trying to poke fun, but seriously, you can
Nah,
go
I
back
mean,
and there's always something, man.
yes,
Like drastic. But no, I mean it's silly to me, man. It's just silly. The Chris Brown thing. I mean, I call it's WWF, man. That's kind of what I've
entertainment.
talked about. It's just entertainment stuff. It's the same when Meek supposedly had 2 of his buddies try to jump Safari.
Did you guys see that video? Has everybody here seen that? Did you guys see that long?
It's just silly,
I
man.
don't. Probably forgot it.
That borderline look, to Spool's point, that borderline looks set up.
There are
I mean,
people
it
that
probably was.
there are people that I don't understand how they become popular sometimes, and Meek Mill's one of them, man.
Yeah.
I just don't. I've seen an interview with him where I was kind of like, all right, man, this guy seems like he's okay. You know what I mean? Just
I think he can rap when he's
You
locked
know.
in.
but
He screams too much for me. But
he's just loud.
I think I think he can rap when he's locked in though. His last studio album I thought was pretty solid though. I actually listened to it. I thought it was solid, but Meek is I thought Meek was supposed to be the quote unquote next guy in line from Philly. You got the lineage with
Right.
Freeway and
Yeah.
Beans and all those guys.
Cassidy.
Cassidy, all those guys.
Yeah.
Go back
So-
to Schoolie D, man. We know about that.
Yeah, even what's my man's name? That's
Jazzy
always
Jeff is from Philly.
that's saying crazy. Not Jazzy Jeff from Fresh Prince, but yeah, they're obvious.
The Roots.
The Roots. Nobody ever mentions the Roots
Yeah.
when they talk about Philly, which is crazy.
Nobody
Black
mentions
Thought.
the Roots ever.
Yeah, which is sad.
Nobody mentions the Roots.
You'd be surprised how many times people, when they talk about Philly, never mention the Roots.
I think they just generally slept on. I mean, in some circles.
I don't understand how at
Roots
this point.
collecting a check every night.
Yep.
Every night?
Every single one.
Every single night.
Speaking of, did you see them? Did you see them back in Lil Yachty in his little 4-minute rap video of
He called it his little 4-minute.
We see Lone over there stunting. I see you.
It was a little 4-minute rap video.
About the Simpsons.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw
He
that.
rapping about the Simpsons.
Yeah, he did all right.
He was holding up cards, the
I
cue
can hear-
cards. The guy was holding.
I can
cue
hear
cards.
overdubs in it though.
Of course.
But anyways, now going
Was
back.
it better than his album?
I didn't listen to his album, so
I did.
Maybe
I listen.
that's and we talked about it a lot on here, didn't we?
I made it through.
All right.
Shout out to little.
Maybe it was good. I don't
Five
know.
mics.
Maybe it wasn't.
5 mics.
Five
Side
mics out of how many?
Psych.
I was glad Joe Budden got up and left too.
That's where I was getting to.
yeah. Good for him. Good for Joe.
He couldn't take it anymore,
the
man.
more I listened to that, I've watched several episodes of that podcast. The more I actually, and I've never been a Joe Budden fan by any means. The more I actually like Joe, and the less I like DJ Akademiks.
I thought you said "Pump It Up" was your favorite song.
Like you were in here doing this, like singing "Pump It Up" before
before
like-
every episode.
Yeah.
34
Like when
times
You
in a row.
Got Served. That's the only reason you like the You Got Served movie is because
Oh
of
no,
Because it
it's
had
no.
Pump It Up
You
in
Got
it.
Served is a fantastic film,
But the only reason you liked it is because it
Because
had
but that
Pump
just
It Up.
Pump It
in
Up
it.
but that
in it.
simply enhances an already fantastic film.
Got you. Cool.
Yeah, Spoolz
Well-
was pop locking and
My buddy's a real
Uh-oh.
really used to break.
He's out here doing it for Saint.
The
No,
feds
but
listening.
I used to joke with him all the time, be like, "Is you got served your favorite movie?" He'd just be like, "You better not."
He know he was out here doing it for Saint, man. Quit playing.
Nah, man.
Quit
That was a
playing.
pretty.
Actually, I don't know if I couldn't tell you that song.
That was a big record. Though,
Oh, I know
man.
it was. I
That
just never.
Very, very
you know.
big record.
But the more I watch that,
Just
the
Blaze.
kind of the lamer I think Akademiks is. Akademiks is doing something where it's like, yeah, I know what I'm doing is kind of whack, but everybody out here are doing whack things, and I'm just telling people about how whack everybody is.
You know what?
That's what it seems. That's what it seems like Akademiks is doing.
It seems like he's still trying to figure it out too, though.
Yeah, he is.
And I think he's old. I'm curious how old he is.
Now, to DJ Akademiks, to his credit,
Please.
say now.
Please help me.
Hold on, because I'm not about to
We're
give him
running out of
props.
time, so we got to get there.
Yeah,
so
I'm not
please tell
giving.
me.
I'm not giving him props in terms of the content and everything. I agree with you guys. He's actually very, very popular. Like he has mad subscribers. He has.
So you're saying
that doesn't
he's
make us
popping.
good.
I mean,
He's
they have a
he
show
is
every
popping.
day, so I mean, I
Yeah.
would imagine so.
I feel
And
it.
it's sponsored by Complex.
You say that Complex check help?
His
Come
YouTube,
on,
his YouTube, his
Complex.
He said,
Holler at
come
us.
on.
his YouTube numbers were
Holler
pretty
at
solid
us.
before Complex too.
Which is the reason why Complex
It's-
probably hollered at him.
It's
because
what I
that's
call.
all
I mean,
he's
it
doing.
is. I mean, am I wrong when I say it's trash? Just like like WWF trash rap news. Whose chain got stolen?
That's
I've
fair.
I've never watched anything of him other than 2 episodes of the Everyday Struggle with him and Joe, which
Yeah,
is the Vic Mensa and then the Migos thing. That's
Yeah.
all I've watched of them.
I've never watched his
I watched
album
the
reviews.
Wale one too.
The Wale one was very good.
I guess he does. I think he's reviewed albums or has done that, but he never. Like it's never been like that. Such and such puts out an album and it's really dope.
Nah.
It's never that. It's and that's
No.
why I call it trash
It's more
news.
gossip.
It's
It's gossip.
exactly,
God,
man.
that's the word we're
Whose
looking
chain
for.
got
Gossip.
stolen? So and so, DC goon snatch.
TMZ, Paris Hilton.
That's what it is, man.
I'm
But
with
I'm
that.
not gonna lie. I've watched it a few times just to kind of say like I was like, oh, I didn't know that happened. Like,
As always on the podcast, we always say, "Hey man, get your paper.
yeah,
Get
Yeah,
your
man.
paper.
I don't have a problem.
You don't have to agree with everything, but hey, I'm not gonna knock that young man's hustle. I don't.
Oh,
I'm
totally.
with Lone. I agree,
Hey, it
but
just goes along. You can do whatever you want to do, but you will be judged for it.
period.
That's right.
I know we had a couple things popping before we wrap up. Too short. Tomorrow.
Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Friday, yes.
At the Vogue.
Tomorrow at the
Tomorrow
Vogue.
at the Vogue.
Shout to Creative Carter.
Yeah.
Yep.
Shout out to Craig Carter. That's a legend. So that's a self-explanatory.
Too short.
You want
Man,
to
I'm
see
a
a hip hop
huge.
legend?
I've been listening to Too Short since I was definitely too young to be listening to Too
You
Short.
think they're gonna be in there choosing on Friday?
Maybe,
might be.
man.
It might be in there
Might
choosing.
get
Could be.
chose. We got anything local quickly before we wrap up? You guys have anything going on in terms of shows, spinning?
Well, actually, today, since this airs Thursday, so
Yes,
this
sir.
would have been yesterday. Now
Yes, sir.
I'm actually doing. I'm DJing with Gray
Okay.
for a slot for the Indianapolis Star. So
Nice.
I'm sure I'll be online for people to check out.
Yeah.
Congratulations, sir. That should be pretty
Yeah,
dope.
that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Shout to Greg Granite as well.
Definitely right
GG.
on Gray for
Sacred
you
Game
know,
Rap.
allowing me
Word.
to do that with you. Other than that, what's going on this week?
No, you guys got another wine after work coming soon?
That will be in July.
July.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Love
I'm
that event.
going to the Cubs Reds game on Saturday.
Is that
So,
right?
yeah.
I'll be
Alright.
DJing a
Cincinnati.
wedding on Saturday.
I see everybody getting that paper this weekend, huh?
Hey,
You want to know what I'm going to do next time?
That's a classic song, man.
Yeah.
It is classic.
You bought my CD with your check, huh?
400 Degrees is a classic. Album. I don't care
it
what
most
anybody says.
definitely is a classic.
Cultural classic, musical classic. We'll have to talk about that. I
don't
feel
know.
the same way about Ghetto Dope. Cultural classic is the album and the product a classic. That is debatable in my
Yeah.
opinion. Cultural classic.
Let's talk about our Patreon real quick. So we got our
Yes,
Patreon.
let's.
Yes, sir.
Our patreon.com/newoldheads. We were up to, we got, I think, $30 worth
$30, yep.
worth of subscribers.
Thank you very much.
We
Yeah.
appreciate you.
Appreciate
Definitely. Once we reach 100, we're going to release the Odyssey interviews. So,
it. Help us get those monies
for sure.
Yes, we
and help us get the mics for when we out live interviewing you.
Yeah.
It's gonna help.
Yeah.
For DJ Spoolz, Lonegevity, DJ Jay Diff, I am Major 7th. We want to thank the sponsors, No Bad Idea, Printfinity, Coleman Dental, and bringingdowntheband.com. Please subscribe
Please.
to the Patreon, to the YouTube page. We got buttons and stickers. We appreciate everybody. This is the end of episode 35. We will see you next week.